how to go from 25% to 10% body fat. A lot of you guys really, really want to know how to get leaner, how to actually get to that next level. Because let's keep it a buck, man. A lot of us are around 20 to 25% and shit like that, just hanging around there, 18 to 25%. The real shit happens, the real separation happens when you hit that 10%, man. When you get closer to 10%, that's when that real separation happens. You get shredded. You know what I'm saying? You're on that next level. Everyone wants to reach that goal. So I'm going to go through exactly what you need to reach that goal today. And we're going to walk through it. I'm going to give you the details. It's going to be very nuanced. So there's going to be a lot of things that you guys don't realize that you need to know that you need to know. Because like I said, this is about getting from one level to the next level. This isn't just about maintaining or being 20%. 20%, you can eat whatever you want to in moderation and be 20%. Or you can eat good for 1 week and bad for 2 weeks and be 20%. It's pretty easy to be 20% body fat. It's not that difficult. It's not impressive. This is why we're getting into how to get to 10% and stay there in a very, very realistic way, not a crazy way, not a super complicated. It's not going to be complicated. Like I said, it's going to be simple. It's going to be what I did and why I'm able to stay lean year round without doing a bunch of cardio, without doing any fancy shit, without doing gear like all these people do. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh my god, it's not possible to stay below 50%." Shut the fuck up. You just lack discipline. People say that shit all the time. Whatever your standards are, whatever you think of yourself, whatever your principles are, whatever your expectations of yourself are, you will execute. All right. So if your expectations are you can't be lean year round, then you fucking won't. It's that simple. A lot of you guys eat shitty as hell, and that's why you're not at your goals, and you're trying to look for some motherfucking answer. Someone literally just asked me, they're like, "Hey man, what else can I do besides strength train and like eating a calorie deficit?" I'm like, "Well, you're 40% body fat as hell, so you haven't done the basics yet. So do those first. Stop looking for something else. Like stop looking for a secret pillars and shit. You need to be in a calorie deficit for an extended period of time, and you need to strength train if you're 40% body fat. There is no other secret. It's not that deep." All right, so first thing you want to do is you want to prioritize fat loss, not weight loss. All right. A lot of you guys focus so much on the scale and then you don't do what you need to do to consistently lose. Like you're going from water fast to keto, all this different shit. All right. You have to realize that fat loss, yes, it's going to be slower than weight loss, but it's going to help you maintain more muscle. It's going to make you more aesthetic and it's going to be the look that you're going for. A lot of people are going for a certain look where they maintain a lot of muscle mass while losing fat. But instead of focusing on fat loss in the waist size, they're actually focusing on the scale, which is insane to me. It's super crazy. It's like you said you want to maintain muscle, get lean, get aesthetic. So why are you focused on the weight? Because a lot of times when your weight is going down really quickly, you're losing a lot of muscle. That's not necessarily a good thing. In the long run, it's not going to be a good thing. So, for example, if you lose 20 pounds, and when someone tells me they lose 20 pounds in like 3 weeks, I'm like, you're cooked because I know that you lost a lot of muscle, but they think it's a good thing because the scale's going down. Now, you did lose some fat in the process, but you're not losing 20 pounds of fat in 3 weeks unless you weigh 700 pounds. All right. A lot of that's going to be muscle. So, you have to focus on maintaining your muscle mass. Very, very, very important. And realize that fat loss is slower. Just realizing that will take a lot of anxiety off of you. So, if you don't lose any weight for a week, that's fine as long as you lose like half an inch or you feel better or you're getting the routine down. Very simple, all right? Here we go. Let me tell you exactly why you should focus on fat loss. So here's the thing. This is me after my first bulk, the problem with this picture is I was fasting. That's the problem with this picture. I was like, yo, why am I fat as shit, dude? Like, how do I fix this? There's no way I'm pregnant like this. And I was fasted. I was like, dude, this is the best I can look at 203. So I didn't have as much muscle mass as the second time a couple of years later when I was at 203. That's why fat loss and muscle mass matter because you can have a bunch of people at the same fucking weight, right? Two people can start at 5'10", 220, 30%, and their goal is going to be 180 lean. All right. If one focuses on weight loss, they'll probably get there pretty quickly, 3 to 4 months, but they'll be at 18% body fat because they lost a lot of muscle. The other ones are going to take 6+ months focusing on fat loss, waist size, how they're feeling, their weights in the gym, high protein calorie deficit, and they're going to reach 180 at 12%. The second guy is going to have more muscle mass, better metabolism, more aesthetic physique, and overall healthier just because he has more fat free mass and he has less fat overall. All right. Very, very simple. That's why you have to focus on fat loss. A lot of you guys are so fixated on getting results as fast as possible, not realizing that the time is going to pass regardless. And then once the time passes and you're not at your goal, you get frustrated. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. You're like, hey man, I gotta get this goal in 3 months. I gotta get this. And you've been saying that for 10 years. All right. So you try to speed run the goal and then you end up binging because it's too unsustainable and you're too focused on weight loss instead of fat loss. Stop doing that shit. All right. One more thing you want to do is prioritize strength training. The basis foundation of a good plan, of a solid plan, of a plan that's going to fucking work is literally strength training and nutrition. All right. Cardio you add in after, right? Sleep is important too. Water intake is important too. But the basis is strength training to build muscle mass, right? To build muscle mass, the more muscle mass you have, the faster your metabolism will be. Right? Very, very simple shit. And nutrition. Those are going to be 90% of your results right there. All right. So maintain heavy lifting. Do not switch up your workout just because you're eating less. Like that shit doesn't make any sense. People are like, oh my god, I got to do high reps in Pilates. No, the fuck you don't. Continue to lift heavy if you want to maintain your muscle mass. Very, very important. Stop trying to lift light. Like people go from lifting like Ronnie Coleman when they're bulking, and then as soon as they get in the cut, they're fucking lifting like Richard Simmons or Jane Fonda. Like, why are you doing that shit? Just because you're eating less doesn't mean do high reps. Keep your reps moderate, right, to low. Keep your intensity high. Push through it. You're gonna feel like shit some days. If you really feel like shit, spam pre-workout, bro. If you really feel like shit, just take some fucking pre-workout and make it happen. All right, because the results you want are not gonna come easy. They're just not going to, but they are possible. All right. The truth about cardio and fads. All right. So what I've noticed specifically is that people who chase cardio, extra cardio and fads and shit like that, because I get this question every day, and I get people talking about it on my TikTok live every fucking day. They're like, "Oh my god, like, bro, like, I'm gonna do extra cardio. Like, I need to get lean fast." The only reason you want to do extra cardio is because you're trying to compensate for a shitty foundation, right? You're probably not in a calorie deficit. Let's keep it a buck. Maybe you're strength training, but you're probably not in a calorie deficit. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're strength training, you are literally going to be melting fat. The fat's going to be falling off. All right, just that simple. Here's the thing: people say I don't do enough cardio. I say I do 10 to 15 minutes. I work out about six times a week, so I do 10 to 15 minutes before my sessions. That adds up to like almost 90 minutes per week, right? However, I do that shit every fucking week. So when you add it up over the year, I'm probably doing more cardio than you. Most people, like during New Year's, the first 2 weeks, they probably do 14 days straight of 3 hours of cardio. But guess what? They don't do any for the rest of the fucking year. So who's really doing more cardio? Who's really more consistent? And then of course my strength training sessions are high intensity, bringing my heart rate up, right, into like the same range as cardio. And then my nutrition is on point. That's what's going to get you to your results. Trying to overcompensate, trying to rush, right? That's like panicking. Anytime you try to do a fad or new fad or I got to do water fasting, it's you panicking because you're trying to overcompensate for not actually having a good foundation. When you have a good foundation, you're confident and you know you're going to be consistent. You're confident. You're not going to be chasing fads and trying to do extra cardio. I never try to do extra cardio. It just doesn't make any sense. If you're trying to do extra cardio, first of all, you don't understand the process. And what are you in a rush for? The time's going to pass regardless, right? And you listen. You've had a goal for 10 years. You failed over and over doing the same shit because you kept trying to do fads, and you kept trying to spam cardio. So why would you keep trying to do fads and keep trying to spam cardio if it didn't work? Like it doesn't make any sense. All right, my true step count, guys. This is going to be alarming. All right, get ready, brace yourselves. So my true step count when I was 226 and I got down to the initial 193. My average step count was 2 to 3K. Right, that's it. That's fucking it. And that was considering that I had one day where I did like 30 minutes on the stairmaster, very fucking slow. I thought it was fast back then, but yeah. Anyways, I did like 30 minutes on stairmaster one day, but I was doing one-on-one nursing where I was literally very sedentary. That's all I was doing. That's all I was fucking doing. And I was getting lean. How? Because my nutrition was on point and I was strength training. That's how I know you guys are fucking lying when you're like, oh my god, like I'm eating really good and I'm not losing weight. Do I have to do extra cardio? You guys are lying. I don't want to hear that shit. You guys literally lie about your nutrition day in and day out. You guys don't track extra snacks. You guys don't track, condiments. You guys don't track butter. You guys don't track oil. You guys do not track your nutrition. All of you guys are lying. It's not because when you actually like, here's the thing. I'll tell people like, yeah, man, you can eat like 2,400 calories and lose weight. They're like, oh, that's way too much. If that was way too much, you wouldn't be 30% body fat, bro. You would be eating 2,000. Like if that was way too much and you actually ate that, you would be lean as shit. But you're not eating that. You're clearly eating 4,000 calories. You're just not tracking because you don't want to be held accountable and you don't want to see how bad you're doing. It's very fucking simple. Like you guys literally lie about your nutrition when you're actually in a calorie deficit. And most people above 250, above 20% body fat, if you're eating 2,800 consistently, you're going to be losing fat. It's just going to happen. I don't care what issues you got going on. I don't care how sedentary you are. You're going to be losing some fat. It's just going to happen. So I know this 10K step stuff is like motivating. It is good to get your activity level up. But like I said, this is bare minimum tips and this is as realistic as possible. All right. So here's the thing. You want to keep your nutrition simple as shit. All right, this is literally my breakfast yesterday. Just fucking eggs, bro. Literally eggs, spam eggs. All right. If you don't like the texture of eggs, you're like, oh, I don't like eggs. I don't like the texture of eggs. But you do you like the texture of your big ass stomach? Does your girlfriend like the texture of your stomach? Can you even pull a bitch? Like, shut the fuck up and eat eggs, bro. I don't want to hear that shit. You guys make the dumbest excuses, but at the same time, you guys eat some nasty shit. Like you guys are eating fucking Skittles and McDonald's every day, but you're like, oh, I don't want eggs. Like what? Like shit's dumb as hell. It's just dumb as hell. Eggs have a lot of nutrients in them. Now, if you really don't want to eat eggs, then just skip breakfast and intermittent fast, or have a protein smoothie in the morning, or do turkey sausage or something. But in reality, listen, keep it simple. Stop trying to overcomplicate shit. Every time I'm like, yeah, man, I have eggs for like people will be like, this is what non-lean people say. They'll be like, yeah, man, I'm trying to get lean, but I just don't want to eat eggs for breakfast. I want to be different. Well, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel, bro? If you're 40% body fat, you might want to try the wheel. Stop trying to reinvent this shit. It's not that deep. There's only so many foods. When you start your fat loss journey, you're not creating new foods. You're not. There's only so many foods on earth. You're not literally going into a chemical lab and making new foods and be like, oh, this is what I'm going to stick to. No. There's only so many foods. And majority of the time, it's not even about the foods you're eating, it's about the way they're cooked. Like you're eating fried chicken instead of regular chicken. You're eating fries instead of air fried potatoes. Things like that, right? And here's the thing. Measure your portion sizes. Stop fucking guesstimating. This is what I said earlier. A lot of you guys are like, dang, bro, I'm getting 5,000 steps a day. No, you guys say 10,000. I'm getting 10,000 steps a day. And like, I'm stretching 4 times a week and I'm not losing weight. Oh, yeah. I know you're eating like shit, straight up. If I get 10,000 steps per day and I'm strength training, like, 5 to 6 times a week like I am now, holy shit, dude. I can eat 2,800 calories and lose fat. 10,000, like, so the fact that you guys are 260, 40% body fat, getting those steps and, strength training 4 to 5 times a week, I know you are eating crazy and you're probably drinking beer. It's very simple. Here's the thing. Back to simplicity. The more simple your food choices, the more issues you will avoid, and the easier to be stay within your macros. Right. So when you're eating whole foods, it's like you're not going to have micronutrient issues. You're not going to have all these, energy issues because you're going to be getting your micronutrients. Your protein intake is going to be high. Your fiber intake is going to be high, so you're not going to be as constipated. You're going to avoid a lot of issues that you wouldn't avoid if it fits your macros. All right. So what does an actual day of eating look like? All right. So listen, let me say this one more time. Repeatability equals sustainability. So my breakfast is always some kind of eggs. Lately, I've been doing eggs and tuna or eggs and steak and then some fruit. Very, very simple. Now, the carbs and fruits are not the same as the carbs and Skittles. So before you guys are like, oh my God, there's so many carbs. Why would you do that? The carbs and fruits are not the same as the carbs and Skittles. All right, it's not the same shit. This has a lot of fiber in it. This has prebiotics. This has potassium. This has fiber, obviously. They both have fiber. They both have prebiotics, vitamin C in the apples, right? And you're gonna feel different. You're not gonna feel as bad when you as when you eat Skittles, like the spike in insulin and shit like that, right? So I eat a decent amount of carbs. Like I don't starve myself with carbs like a lot of you guys do temporarily, right? I eat like this all the time. So this is usually my breakfast, something like this, right? And then dinner is always some kind of ground turkey, some kind of steak or salmon, just depends on the day. But it's very, very simple. The reason it's simple is because it's repeatable. I spend 30 minutes in the kitchen, not 8 hours. I don't do TikTok recipes. The shit's dumb itself. If you constantly need new recipes or think you need new recipes, I hate to say it to you, but you're just not gonna last. All right. Because there's 52 weeks in a year, and if you need something new every single week, I mean that's just unnecessary. That's not what me and my leanest friends do. We just don't do that dumb shit. Like I don't me being around lean people, seeing how they eat, it's like they're eating very simple things. Even if you hang around like fat people or overweight people, when I was overweight, how did I get overweight? Eating the same shit all the time, right? To get in the wrong direction, obviously. But it's like simplicity equals repeatability equals sustainability. So when you're eating like shit, but you're eating, something that you like shit, then you're gonna gain a lot of weight because you're consistently eating it. Simple. All right, so let's get into the steps. First step you want to do, like I say on my TikTok live for everyone who watches my TikTok, find your caloric intake. Simple. Find your caloric intake. Go to a calorie calculator, type that shit in. It's gonna give you a rough estimate. And you guys are always like, I don't know if I should eat this. It says I should eat 2,400. Should I eat 2,400 or 2,300? It doesn't fucking matter because right now you're eating 6,000 or 5,000. So if you eat anywhere near 2,300 and you stay consistent, you're gonna lose so much fat. You're not gonna know what to do. You're gonna think you're Magic Mike. Like let's keep it a buck. So I hate when people are like, I don't know what to do. It says I should eat 2,500. Why don't you fucking try it? Because right now you're eating 3,500 plus. Clearly, it's just come on. One more thing, you don't want to be too restrictive. There's no reason. I hate when people say, "Oh, you have to do keto," which is basically carnivore, or they say you have to go vegan. Literally, majority of people are eating low protein, very very high processed sugar, right? Not very active in drinking very low amounts of water. So when you drink more water, you eat less processed sugar, and you up your protein. You're already doing good. Literally, you're doing better than 95% of people. You do not have to do keto or carnivore or intermittent fasting or any of that shit. Just be in a high protein calorie deficit, guys. So, and do not get rid of salt. You need salt. Salt's important. Sugar, get rid of processed sugar, not regular sugar. Like you saw me eating bananas and apples and shit like that. You can still have grapes, bananas, apples, berries, and shit like that. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. Use a calorie calculator or MyFitnessPal to track. Do not guesstimate. All right, so grocery shopping. Here's step two. All right, so whatever you surround yourself with in the house is going to be what you're eating. That's one of the literally simplest, dumbest things I've ever said, but it has the most value. It has some of the most value because most people aren't even surrounded by what they need to eat, and they're like, "Dude, I can't hit my protein goals." I'm like, "What the fuck's in your fridge?" They're like, "Oh, I got some leftover Little Caesars, and I got like one egg, but then I got some Chinese food from the other day. Why?" I'm like, dude, because what you surround yourself with is what you're going to consume. So if I had pizza and Chinese food in my fridge and I get hungry, what the fuck am I going to eat? Chinese food and pizza. Is there protein in that? No. Are those options healthy? No. Are there vitamins and minerals in there? No. So you got to surround yourself with fruits and vegetables. Stay on the perimeter of the grocery store. Get you some lean meats. Like I said, everything I listed here, you can make it unhealthy. Like fruits, you can add sugar to fruits, or you can just put a bunch of fruits in a smoothie and add processed sugar or something like that and make a sugar smoothie. That could be unhealthy. You could make 7327 fried steak or fried burgers out of ground beef or ground turkey. Same thing. Um, Non-fat Greek yogurt. You could add a bunch of sugar. You can add extra honey. You can add like a lot of fruit and have it be like 300 grams of sugar or some shit like that. So it's really about how you cook these things. So all these lean meats, getting 93.7 ground beef, 93.7 ground turkey, and then keeping it within your macros is going to be very very important. All right, simple. And then I forgot carb sources. Obviously, rice, brown rice, sweet potatoes, regular potatoes. It's very simple. Tater tots, things like that. All right. So strength training routine. What I do is push pull legs. I do that when I'm bulking or cutting. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't be switching workout when you're bulking and cutting. Like when people are like, "Oh, I got to switch my workout because I'm cutting." I know you don't know fucking anything about maintaining muscle. All right. If you want to maintain your muscle mass, right, that's what most people want to do to be aesthetic. You got to still lift heavy in a cut. That's the hardest part about it. That's one of the hardest parts. All right. So if you do push pull legs rest, push pull legs rest, in an 8 day span, you hit every muscle twice. Compound movements are going to help you build a good foundation. And here's the thing: you should not be switching your workouts. Honestly, you can do the same workouts for like 10 years straight and just progressively overload and switch out a few workouts or add in a few workouts and you'll get insane results. You just will. A lot of people try to switch up their workouts constantly when they haven't even mastered the basics. They just their form's not down on the basic movements like squats, deadlifts, lunges, and they already want to change the movements. Like, no, don't do that shit. Get the foundation down. You're gonna build a lot of muscle mass. You're gonna get a lot of core strength. It's about repeating the same thing over and over. I don't know why people want to change shit, like change their diet every day. They want to change their workout every day when it comes to, fitness journey. When at work, they do the same shit every day for years on end. Every Christmas, they do the same shit, the same work parties, and they don't have a problem with that. But when it comes to fitness journey, for some reason, they want to do something different. Doesn't make any fucking sense. And one more thing, specifically with chest, shoulders, traps, back, quads, mind muscle connection is going to be your best friend. Quality reps matter. So pre-exhausting is very, very important because we're going for aesthetics as well. When you lose that fat, you want to have some aesthetics. So if you want your chest to pop before you even hit it, you want to make sure that you're pre-exhausting it by doing some pec deck or doing some cable flies, something like that, just to get some blood flow in the chest. I did that shit yesterday, and and then once I got my pump, like at the end of my workout, I took my shirt off, and some dude was like, "Hey man, are you a pro body? Like, do you do bench physique or do you like you compete?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And he's like, "Really? Like you don't do anything professional? You look like it?" I was like, "I pretty much just eat healthy and fucking spam the same workouts." He's like, "Wow, that's impressive." The pump, guys, the motherfucking pump. When you get blood flow into your chest and shoulders because you know how to pre-exhaust it because you're doing the exercises correctly and the correct order. All right, you do not go into the gym and just hit some incline barbell like raw dog that shit. You're gonna feel your elbows, your kidneys, and your liver, bro. I'm telling you. Make sure you pre-exhaust your chest before you hit incline. All right, cardio slash activity level. I already told you guys this shit. We already talked about this. We already talked about this. Now, 10K steps. I get 10K steps maybe fucking once to twice a month, bro. Let's just keep it about. I did try doing it consistently for a while. It was not a very good return on investment. It was like yeah, I'm increased activity level, but it just goes into my recovery as far as like when I'm in a calorie deficit. So here's the thing: if you're currently getting 10K steps, like when you start your cut, you don't need to add any extra cardio. You don't need to. You need to focus on if you're getting 10K steps a day and you do not lose weight, your nutrition is fucking horrible, and you're not strength training. You don't have enough muscle mass. So your priority should be building muscle mass, strength training, and cleaning up your nutrition. If you're getting 5K steps, right, then It's up to you whether you want to start cardio or not. I would say don't do cardio yet. Focus on strength training and once again, high protein calorie deficit. Now, if you get 2K steps or less, then you can bump it up to 5K steps and aim for that. And if you work from home, you can get a stand up desk. I've had a few clients, they had like high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and they worked from home and their step count was literally below 1,000. So they got they got a walking pad, and then like every 30 minutes they would just walk for like 15 minutes while they were working from home. Every other hour, my bad. Which so if they're working an 8 hour shift, that totals 60 minutes of walking, which is about 3,000 extra steps. And then they will go for a walk like during their lunch break, which makes it like they got an extra 5,000 steps just off of that. All right, underrated factors, guys. Sleep is super important. It's going to be important for leptin and ghrelin levels. Listen, if you don't get sleep, you're literally just going to be snacking extra, and you're going to be like, "Why the fuck am I snacking so much today? What is going on? Why am I eating all this shit today? Why am I so hungry today?" It's literally just because you didn't get enough sleep. A lot of times, if you're bloated and you're like, "My physique looks off today," it's because you didn't get enough sleep, right? And yeah, she caught me lacking. She caught me lacking, guys. But anyways, yeah, so that's going to be a big deal as well. Um, Gallon of water, of course, just get that in. A lot of people listen. Gallon of water is not that deep. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear people saying like, "Oh my god, like how do you get a gallon of water?" Just fucking drink. How else can you get a gallon of water? What are you gonna pour it up your ass or something? That's the dumbest fucking question. Drink the water, bro. Drink the water. You drink. Listen, you go out during the weekend. You drink like a fish. When your team loses, yes, the Cowboys, when the fucking Cowboys lose, you drink like a fish. You drink like a gallon of beer. So you have the ability to drink. All right? Just fucking drink water. How do you get 1 gallon of water in a day? You drink one bottle every 2 hours you're awake. All right? Very simple shit. Stress reduction, of course. The higher your stress, your sleep's going to be worse, you know. But I mean, I'm not going to say stress reduction unless you're like have a super stressful job like 10 out of 10. It'll affect you. But if you have like normal stressors of life, then yeah, you'll be fine. But if you have like a super stressful job, like you're literally like a heart attack or what, like you're literally 1 minute from a heart attack every day. Like you're just stressed all the time, then that could be an issue. Your mental diet, what you consume on social media. All right, listen, stop consuming bullshit on social media. Stop looking at if you get McDonald's ads and you get like Burger King's ads, which I do not get, it means that you are, following the wrong people or looking at the wrong shit. All right. Period. And then what you're watching on YouTube is important too. What you're watching on Instagram and social media. You should only be watching positive shit on social media and not spending too much time on it. And then you should be reading books, Napoleon Hill, Jim Rohn, Myron Golden. You should be reading books that have positive mindset and self improvement, you know, like messages to them. That's going to really help your mindset. It's very, very important. If you don't have your mindset on point, you're not going to execute, because if you don't get your mindset right, you won't become the person you need to become. If you're not the person you need to become, you will never, ever do what you need to do consistently. So it's very important that you get your mental diet on point. Like that's one of the most underrated factors, period. People just don't understand that. Like for me, consuming Jeff Loeb's, Chris Jones, that shit, and Myron Golden, shit took my mind to the next level. It just did. So now I'm locked in. And then you read David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. It's like, yeah, everything in your life that you thought was a challenge is a joke. It's not even that hard. You're just over exaggerating. You see what I'm saying? So your mental diet's important. Too many of you guys follow too many different people. You follow, 100 people who are on steroids. You follow 100 people who have like who do like functional training. Then you follow 100 people who do aesthetics, and then you follow 100 big booty bitches, and you're just literally spending all day on social media, and there's no direction, right? Follow 3 people that you want to look like. Boom. Watch what they do. Watch their food and shit like that, and then implement it. You got to implement. All right. Period. All right. So, when to readjust your calorie deficit. And here's the thing. Like, I know people are going to be like, wait, what about when I hit a plateau? Shut the hell up with that shit. Let me tell you what's really going on here, guys. So, first of all, I started at 2,600, 226 to 230, very low step count. I'm 6'1". So, once I reached about 210, I decreased them again just because I was like, you know what? I don't feel like I need 2,600 calories. It's kind of a lot. And I want to speed up the fat loss process as much as possible. So, if you get down to a certain weight, like if you drop 15 pounds, and you feel like you can drop your calories and you feel satiated at the weight at the food that you're eating, you could drop them. So I dropped them to about, pretty sure I dropped them to what, 2,300 or something like that. And then once I got to 200, I dropped them to like 2,100 ish, somewhere around there. And yeah, once I got to 193, to get from 193 to 183, I think I dropped them to like 2,000, somewhere around there. So yeah, 2,000, 1,900, that area, to get down from 193 to 183. But in all reality, I could have just stayed at like I could have stayed at 2,100 and just kept the fat loss pretty slow. But here's the thing: if you guys are going through a plateau or something, in reality, go back to the drawing board. If you're tracking your nutrition, you're tracking your sleep, you're tracking your lifts, and you're tracking your how many days you're working out, step count, activity level, make sure those are all in check. A lot of times, the reason you plateau is because you literally just started eating an extra snack. You literally started eating an extra snack. Nothing crazy. Like at night, you're having, instead of having one serving of skinny pop, you're having five servings of skinny pop. So now you're over your calories. Or instead of one serving of cashews, now you're having three servings of cashews. Those small things are what's going to keep your weight, stable. And you're like, I'm plateauing. Well, you're not really plateauing. You're just not in a deficit anymore. All right. Or your activity level used to be 10K when you started your cut, and now it's 5K. Those are usually the things that I see. So like plateaus, they don't really happen. Or your weight is plateauing, but you're losing fat still. So your waist size is still going down. That's not a plateau either. You're still losing fat. All right. The truth about snacking, guys. So snacking is going to prevent you from overeating and curbing cravings. Now, I know a lot of people are just like, man, I just do two solid square meals or three square meals. That's cool for you, but I'm a snacker, bro. Like, if I don't track my calories, if you told me just to eat what I feel like eating, which is what everyone in fucking America does, if you told me to eat what I feel like eating, literally, and just what I'm gonna feel like eating is just gonna be straight carbs. All right, it's gonna be straight carbs. So snacking helps me like curb my appetite for real. Like especially because like breakfast, I have some eggs and some other stuff. Snacking on like legendary, you know, Pop Tarts or some protein bars, protein shakes, or even some nuts and fruits. Pause. That really helps me stay satiated before the next meal. So then by the time I eat the next meal, I'm not really like super hungry, just a little bit hungry. Versus if I didn't snack, I'd be super hungry that next meal, and I'd be like, "Damn, I don't feel like I'm eating enough. I'm so hungry. Oh my god, shit like that, right?" And snacking a lot of times will keep your blood sugar stable enough to keep you from binging. I'm not gonna lie, as a nurse working those 12, 16-hour shifts, snacking saved my life. So here's the thing: I do the unisex scrubs, so I can have the pockets right here. I have the pockets right here, like on my shirt, on my scrub shirt, and I stick a bunch of snacks in there, and then like if I have a second, I'll drink a Premier Protein shake real fucking quick, like takes 20 seconds just to keep my blood sugar stable so I don't binge by the time lunchtime comes around and I'm smelling all the Haitian and Jamaican food that they're bringing in. Because let's be honest, most nurses are big backs. All right, how to stay locked in. All right, I already made a video on this because a lot of you guys are like, how do I stay locked in? How do I stay locked in? Listen. It's execution over feelings. Like we are grown men here. Why are we worried about it? Like why are we focused on our feelings? Like I don't feel like it. Like how do you stay locked in? Just fucking do the work, bro. Aren't you sick of being fat as hell, bro? Aren't you sick of looking down and not seeing your dick? Like aren't you sick of the same shit every single year? Like you're like, dang, this is the year, man. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and you just don't do it. Aren't you sick of that shit? When you're sick of that shit, you're gonna stay locked in because you're sick of that shit. Stop thinking that a hunger pain means you're starving. It doesn't. It literally doesn't. That shit's annoying. Like you're like, dang, yeah, I got hungry, so I had to start eating more. No, you didn't get hungry, bro. You had one hunger pain. That's not. That doesn't mean you're actually hungry. Like you ate 2,800 calories, and you weigh 250. You're not hungry, dude. You're good. A lot of times cravings come from going long periods of time without eating. That's another thing. Like I said earlier, that's why snacking is so important. All right. Now, foods to avoid that we already know about. The reason you want to avoid these foods, at least limit them, is just because, with chocolate, with fried foods, with processed sugars and candy, a lot of that stuff is actually addictive. Addictive because chocolate has processed sugars. Processed sugar is very addictive. That's the only reason you crave it. Because I've never seen someone say, you know what? I've never seen someone say, you know what? I'm craving Skittles. Eat one Skittle and they're done. That never happens. It's hyper palatable. It's addictive. It works on your brain. It gives you a dopamine rush. That's why you can eat a family size bag of Skittles. Very simple. All right. So once you avoid all that shit, you're not gonna crave it anymore. You're not gonna crave juices. You're not gonna crave liquor. You're not gonna crave fat fried foods when you avoid all this. And all this stuff, like I said, it's hyper palatable. You're not gonna portion size any of this. It's just not gonna happen. People are like, well, you can eat three Oreos in a day. Yeah, nobody does that shit. Nobody eats three Oreos in a day. I hate when people say like, yeah, you can just eat in moderation. Those people are always some of the fattest motherfuckers on earth because obviously you can't do it in moderation. If you have that mindset that oh my god, like you can just eat in moderation, then you're probably one of those people that tried it and you failed and now you're 30 to 40% body fat. So I'm not listening to your ass. Simple. And one more thing I forgot to say: cook majority of your meals at home. Cook majority of your meals at home. That'll knock out a lot of shit. Because it's fast food, they always put different stuff in it. Obviously, if you go out to eat and you're like, wow, this chicken and I don't know, this chicken and rice tastes so good. The chicken's fried. That's the breading. You see the grease coming off. Come on now, and the rice is fried too. The rice is fried. It's a lot of calories. That's why it tastes better than when you make it at home. All right, make that shit at home, season it well, and it's gonna taste better. All right, so what do you do when you have an unplanned cheat day? Because this is like I said, this is from going 25 to 10%. If you're like 50%, you can go down to 20% without a cheat day, and you won't feel too bad. You'll be like, oh, I feel pretty decent. Once you get into the 15-ish range, around that range, you're gonna have more cravings and stuff like that. But yeah, so should you do extra cardio? Should you fast for 24 hours? Should you drink a bunch of coffee and water fast? Should you do a detox? No, don't do any of this shit. I know some people are like, oh, just fast for 24 hours. Don't do that shit. You're gonna create a cycle. If you fast for 24 hours, then you're gonna be like, all right, man, I did bad. I'm fast for 24 hours. Every time you do bad, you're gonna fast for 24 hours, but you're gonna do bad more because you are fasting for 24 hours. For example, if I have an unplanned cheat day and I fast for 24 hours, I'll be fine for a couple of days, but then I'm gonna get hungry as shit and then binge again, and then I'm gonna have to fast for 24 hours. I'm gonna create a cycle versus just getting right back on track. So if you have a cheat day where your calorie deficit is you eating 2,000 calories a day total, but on that cheat day you have like 4,000 calories, just go right back to eating 2,000 calories. You'll be fine. All right, one cheat day is not gonna kill you. Even if you have a cheat week, go right back to where you were. Like if you're supposed to eat 2,000 calories a day, at a cheat week where you average like 3,500 calories per day, go back to 2,000 calories. You'll be fine. It's not that deep. All right. Y'all always try to do this shit like, oh my god, now I have to starve myself for a week. No, no, the fuck you don't. This is a marathon, not a race. It's not that deep. All right, mistakes to avoid. Shout out to my nigga Mash Lee. Not weighing your foods. You guys do that shit way too much, which is it's crazy to me. You're like here's the thing. I always talk about the bare minimum, and you guys ignore it. You guys don't do this shit. But here's the thing: a lot of people will be like, "Hey man, like I'm just not losing weight." It's like I'm eating the chicken. I'm eating. You can eat healthy food and not lose weight. It's not that deep. It just means you're not eating in a calorie deficit. So that's why you have to weigh your foods, use measuring cups, and measure your foods because you don't know how much you're eating if you don't measure it. How are you supposed to know? How do you know how much you're spending if you're not tracking it? It's the same shit. Like you're trying to save money, but you're not tracking how much you're spending. How the hell are you going to save money that way? It's just not going to happen. If I ask you, hey man, I know you're trying to save 5,000 this month, man. How much did you make? It like I don't know. Okay, well, how much do you spend? I don't know. Well, then how the fuck are you supposed to know if you can save the amount that you set out to save? Like, if you want to lose 2 pounds per week, 1 to 2 pounds per week, and you want to lose fat, how are you supposed to know you're losing the fat if it says your calorie deficit should be 2,300 and you're not even tracking your foods? Like, that shit is dumb as hell to me. Track your numbers in the gym as well. All right. If you were lifting 315 pounds for 6 reps on bench at 226, I'm just using myself for example. Well, no. If you're benching 315 for 12 reps at 226, by the time you get down to about 183, you should be able to get it for like 4 to 6 reps. No, you're not going to get it for 12 reps because you are just a smaller human being and you have less carbs in your system. Very simple shit. But you also don't want to go from 315 for 12 reps all the way down to like 225 for 4 reps struggling. You see what I'm saying? Because that means you lost a lot of muscle. You want to maintain your muscle. Make sure you take progress pics. Progress pictures are going to be super important because you can't see the 1 centimeter of change that you get like every week. All right, you're just not going to see that. Well, not every week, every day or whatever. You get like 1 centimeter change. You're not going to be able to see that shit off rip. So it's very, very important that you take progress pics. Very, 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 very important. All right, very, very important. Next, not drinking enough water. A lot of people just skip the water intake. Don't ask me why, but they just skip it. And then also make sure that you're sleeping enough. Sleeping enough is going to be important as well. I already talked about that. Now, dealing with hunger pains. So make sure you're staying hydrated. Drink a lot of water. Drink ice drinks. Drink tea. Drink coffee. Eat high protein. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. These are all important. All right, because when you get a hunger pain, it's kind of like when Netflix is like, "Are you still watching?" Your body is just adjusting it and it's trying to figure out, "Are you gonna eat?" Because you usually eat now. But once you don't eat enough, then your body's gonna be like, "Okay, I'll stop signaling the hunger pain." Simple. And then, like I said in the last video, stubborn belly fat, no such thing. There's only stubborn habits. So if you have quote unquote stubborn belly fat, clean up your fucking habits, right? Because you're doing the same habits. That's why you're keeping the fat. It's not that deep. If you're in a calorie deficit, your belly fat's gonna go away. This was stubborn belly fat. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? My habits changed. Simple shit. All right. Mindset required to be successful, guys. It took you years to get fat as hell. You won't lose all that shit overnight. Pace yourself. Focus on progress, not perfection. Nobody's perfect. Period. All right. Part two. Who you become is key, like I said earlier. If you become the person you need to become, you're always going to do what you need to do, which means you'll always have the results that you want. And you want to focus on your inputs. You cannot control how much time it's going to take you to lose the fat specifically, but you can control what you do. If you always do what you need to do, you're always going to get the results you need. But you guys are always focused on the results that you're like, is my body fat percentage going down? Well, are you doing what you need to? You're focused on your body fat percentage so much that you're not even doing what you need to reduce it. Crazy. All right, guys. So Black Friday's coming up. So we got a Black Friday coaching sale. It's going to be 20 to 30% off. all 6 month and 1 year packages. I'm gonna have 3 spots. So the first people who reach out via Instagram, all you gotta do is DM me lean. Instagram's gonna be in the bio. If you guys are serious, of course, all you gotta do is DM me. And yeah, like I said, Black Friday sale, nothing crazy. If you guys are locked in, ready to go, sick of being fat as hell, then lock in, man. Lock in, lock in, lock in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Took value from it. Like, comment, subscribe.